Overwhelmingly. It's not an actual vote, but just seeing if there's overwhelming support. Okay, promoting quality design and respect for heritage.
Right. Actually, a lot of the time we spent talking about the listed buildings. That's right, the listed buildings in Haringey and the conservation areas and things like that. And we also talked about the campaigns over the last few years that groups like Ward's Corner, Tottenham Civic Society and other groups have been involved in. So we didn't leave a lot of time to talk about action areas, but we did say, I've got 3 or 4 points. One was that heritage buildings and fine buildings are not just in conservation areas, and there's a danger of neglecting those. So we'd like to see those get some recognition. We felt that, well, we had a bit about 50% social housing. One of the things that we've tended to do, some of the organisations have tended to do, look at new developments in terms of new design or design features, when we also need to look at them in terms of how much rented accommodation there is. I mean, obvious example is Lawrence Road, 264 housing units, only 8 for rent. And we were suggesting there could be 50% social housing, as there used to be, although social housing means different things, but anyway. Thirdly, we then had a general discussion about lots of standards for new developments. There's design standards, what they look like, but there's also other standards, sustainability, amenity space, the size of the rooms, whether they're lifetime housing, whether they're suitable for, you know, mobility problems and so on. And we know there are minimum standards that the council have, but we felt we needed more information of these and we needed to push for these to be improved. And this, unfortunately, leads us on to looking at these dreadful documents that Dave was referring to at the beginning, the sort of plans, what used to be the UDP, and are now the other plans, the local plans, because you have to get an input into those plans to actually get the council to improve these standards, because there have been some dreadful things. I mean, developers who want to put balconies in over the high road, for instance, even though they're totally suitable, just because that's the way of meeting the amenity space requirements. So there are all these sorts of things that the councils do.
Unsuitable, yeah.
Yeah, totally unsuitable, sorry. And then the final point, which we didn't discuss, but we raised as a query, with lots of question marks, there's often a lot of talk about heritage-led regeneration, and the council has got quite a lot of money in Tottenham to restore shop fronts and do other things using heritage-led regeneration. And the issue is, what does that mean? Does it just mean gentrification, or does it mean a different sort of regeneration, which would be regeneration for the people who live in Tottenham?
Okay.
So they're not really recommendations, are they?
Well, I'm trying to distill those into a series of recommendations here. Which comes down to, I think, don't neglect heritage buildings that are outside conservation areas. Consider, push for higher social housing percentage in new developments. Push for better quality design standards. Well, first we'll find out what they are, and then campaign for them to be improved. So it's not just the look of the buildings, but also the design, interior design and so on, presumably sustainability as well, and that kind of thing. And for heritage... what was it?
Heritage-led regeneration.
Yes, to ensure that heritage-led regeneration is there for the benefit of Tottenham residents and doesn't just cause gentrification that pushes people out. Now, I'm just going to have a show of hands to see if...
Can I just potentially...
There's always one, isn't there?
Can I just potentially rephrase that last point? Because there's a new pot of money coming from the lottery on 22nd of April, specifically for community-led regeneration of heritage buildings in regeneration areas which produce jobs. And so you might be able to say something like mobilise to access that money for Tottenham.
Alright, so let's rephrase that then. To ensure that heritage-led regeneration benefits the people of Tottenham in the short, medium and long term.
Yes.
Yeah?
Why not? Yeah.
This is how policies are made. Someone just dreams it up. Okay, so is everybody happy to live with those?
Just one other.
Oh, hang on, hold on, we've got another
I
person.
wanted to be more specific about the social housing proportion of development and say at least 50%.
Well,
We were saying actually that in the group, that's fine. That came up in the group. That's
at least 50%.
Yeah.
All right, so we're building in that social housing should be at least 50% of any new development.
Social housing, not affordable housing.
Yeah, social housing, i.e. genuinely affordable housing. Okay, everybody happy to live with those points? Show of hands.
Yeah.
Anybody against? They're passed then. Right.